Bam bada bam. Super test 0.9.10 Italian battleships. Please note that all information in the development log is preliminary and subject to change during testing, blah 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 blah. Researchable Italian battleships will be added to the game in the upcoming super test session. Now, of course, they're not adding tier 3 because, well, they gave a long story about it, but the TLDR is tier 3 has been ruined to the extent because everyone uses a bunch of XP boosts to skip it, and no one likes playing tier 3 anymore because tier 4 carriers are so horrendously unfun to play against when you have no AA. So tier 3 is basically dead, and Wargaming's way of admitting this is not posting a tier 3 ship at all. So we got Dante Alighieri, Conte di Cavour, I know, flawless Italian.
I'm a very stable genius.
Andrea Doria, what was it, Francesco? Francesco Caracciolo. V Veneto, which is the third Roma we're getting in the game. Very nice, we don't have enough of those. Lepanto and Colombo. What was the C for? Was it Cristoforo? I have no idea. But anyways, the ships of the new branch are most effective in combat at medium range. The main features of the Italian battleships. Like the Italian cruisers, thank you folks by the way, 42 months is a long ass time. Like the Italian cruisers, instead of HE shells, the new ships are armed with sap shells. They inflict high damage on weakly and moderately protected targets and ship parts, but do not cause fires. And they had exhaust smoke, a large number of guns, with relatively short firing range and not very good accuracy. Secondary battery with good accuracy but short range. When they say short range, they literally said 5 kilometers, so basically pretty damn useless, unless you're being YOLO'd, but who's gonna YOLO a battleship with SAP in a D&D? Decent concealment and average maneuverability, quickly turning turrets, and rather good armor. Details, here we go. Italian battleship Andrea Doria. Show me. I mean, say what you want about some of the performance characteristics of these ships. Good lord, the Italian ships look good. They just look so good. Damn. No accent on the A on Doria. Okay, Andrea Doria? Doria. Let me open actually some cabinets. There's a bit of an echo. There we go. A bit of cabinet opening, and just like that, the echo is gone. Right. Hit points 45,000 at tier 6. That's... how much is that? That's maybe not too bad. That's pretty low actually. Wait, hold on. How much does Fuso have? Fuso has over 50k, doesn't it? And New Mexico is 53k. That's pretty low actually. Congo has 51k. Bayern has 51k. So 45 is actually very, very low health pool. 26mm plating, that is standard. 2x3, 2x2, 10 guns, 320mm, so you're not going to be overmatching a whole lot. Firing range 17 kilometers, AP shell damage very anemic, 830 meters per second, sap shell 10,250 with 830 meters per second. MK Note, thank you for the 7 months. Penetration of sap shell 82 millimeters. So you're basically gonna pen everything. In fact, you're gonna sap citadel any cruisers that have exposed citadels with that. Like, there's gonna be a lot of cruisers actually at that tier you can citadel. That's pretty good shell velocity as well on the sap. The 830. Reload time 30 seconds, 180 degree turn time 36, and then you had expert marksman 1.6 sigma. Not that impressive, but it's tier 6. Tier 6. Interesting. Secondary range completely useless. 3.5 km range, doesn't do anything. AA 10x1 90mm. Range 4.6 km. Oh god. 4 flak. That DPM 193, 120. The problem with 4.6 km AA is you gotta remember that the AA always has to reload as well when planes enter, so 4.6 km AA is gonna be so anemic. It's gonna be so anemic. 27 knots of speed, that's actually very good for a tier 6, isn't it? Turning circle 640, that is insanely good for a ship that is that fast. Rudder shift 13 seconds, surface concealment 13.3. Damn, this thing is really stealthy and very agile. I think this thing is, in the hands of a good player, this thing can be nasty. Air detectability 8.1. Up-tiered César? Yeah, basically, that's what it looks like, up-tiered César. Detectability with a smoke, of course, and sap, so a bit different. Smoke firing penalty 10.6, which is quite low. Damage control, repair, exhaust, smoke, 45-second duration. We'll see if we can add modules to change this. Big cruiser, kinda. Tier 7, Francesco Caracciolo. How the hell do you pronounce that? Caracciolo? Caracciolo. I have no idea. Let's take a look at this big boy. Or is it one of those C's? Caracciolo? Caracciolo. Caracciolo. Francesco Caracciolo? Interesting. Okay, it's one of those weird things where the C's are pronounced differently. Those are some boxy looking turrets, by the way. Is it just me, or do these turrets look far too large for this hull? Is it just me? They look like they're like really, like someone in paint kind of made them too large. These look massive. They actually look really massive. They look really out of place, in fact, on this hull. 54.5k health at tier 7. Somewhat questionable. 26mm plating, that is standard. 4x2, 381. 380s at tier 7 is pretty good. I won't say amazing, but it's decent. 70 game range is not impressive. AP shell 12k, good shell velocity, maximum sap. Oh, you get the huge sap damage at tier 7 already, with an 880 meter per second shell velocity and 96mm sap pen. I think it's going to be the same thing as the previous one. You're going to be able to citadel a bunch of cruisers, and that's good. Isn't that potentially 14k? Yeah, that's 14k sap citadels on cruisers. That can be nasty. That can absolutely be nasty. Sap can citadel, but it has the same requirements as an HE citadel, which means you need to be able not just to pen citadel, but it needs to be exposed, so no layered armor or torpedo belt or anything in between. So, damn. Amusingly, these things are probably going to be able to delete Smolensk very effectively. Reload time 28 seconds, not that bad. Really fast turn time. Sigma 1.6. Sigma 1.6 on 8 guns can be pretty rough, especially with the layout. The question remains, of course, what the armor is going to be like and what the citadel size is going to be like. Interesting. Secondary armament, 4x3, 152, 4chem, 4chem. Okay, so basically irrelevant. AA, that same anemic range. 5 flak, DPM, questionable. Good speed though, 29 knots, that's very good. Once again, really good turning circle for a battleship. Decent rudder shift as well. And still a good concealment. Normally at tier 7, that's the odd tier where battleships get large and get poor concealment, but they don't have access to the concealment module yet. So 13.3 might actually be pretty damn spicy. Sansonetti is going to be really good on those. Yeah, I think so as well. Sansonetti might be really juicy on this. Detectability after firing main guns in smoke, 12.3. Not even that bad for such big guns. This thing can sneak up on ships, especially with the smoke, crawling smoke. Francesco might be nasty. Italian battleship Vittorio Veneto. No idea if I'm mispronouncing that. I'm sure people will tell me. So this is basically a Roma. This is our third iteration of the Roma. We had the Roma, the Littorio, and now we have the Vittorio. Don't forget captain skill rework. Yeah, but I mean, this will come out before the captain skill rework, I would assume. Veneto? Is there something special on how you pronounce it? Vittorio Veneto. Yeah, I have no idea. Adding the small things on top of the E's and O's doesn't actually tell me anything because I don't know what it means in terms of pronunciation. The stress pattern? So it's Veneto. Veneto? Vittorio Veneto? Is that more like it? Correct. Ah, okay, that's how it works. Interesting. I'm gonna forget that, but you can remind me the next time. Hit points 64.8, plating 32, standard tier 8, 3x3, 381, 18.1. This looks very, very Roma-esque, except of course this thing. Sap, 14k. Goddamn. The tier 7 BB has 13.3 km concealment. Zara has 13.54 km concealment. Yikes. Yeah, I think that's gonna be a stealthy boy. These are gonna be, at least the mid-tier ones might be quite nasty, especially against cruisers and potentially DDs. Because what they did mention in the press release was that they have removed the cap on DDs, the 10% cap on DDs. Normally, you can only do 10% of sap damage to DDs, but they have removed it and they're experimenting with, was it 1/3, 1/6, either one or both of them. So I think they're gonna murder DDs and they're gonna have to nerf it back to 10%, but we'll see how that goes. Because if it goes through like this, these things are gonna eat DDs alive. Still though, that alpha is absurd. You can, like, if you get a broadside Smolensk, you can literally two shells is 28k on him, because you can citadel Smolensk. Smolensk is what, 70mm citadel armor, so you can sap citadel him. So that's interesting. Secondary 4.5, irrelevant as always. AA, honestly, rather irrelevant, with a 75% hit probability and these low values, very little flak, plus the reload time. Yeah, I'm not expecting much. 30 knots of speed is nice though. Turning circle 810. Tier 8 BB not too bad. Rudder shift isn't that bad. Surface detectability 14.9. So how much do you end up at the same value? Let's see, what do you get? You get 9 point, okay. Time 0.9 times 14.9. This is what? 11.7? Is that, what does Roma have? Is that identical? Roma stealth. Roma is 14.5. Yeah, I think Roma is 11 point something, 11.2? 11.5? Roma is super stealthy. So Roma is going to be a bit better than this one. Still, this one of course has the smoke, which means that if it has, it's going to have probably identical armor scheme to Roma, but in Roma if you get stuck nose in, you're kind of in trouble. You struggle to disengage. But in this thing you have this get out of jail free card. You can pop the exhaust smoke and you can just turn full broadside and disengage. So, damn. This thing might be pretty damn good. I mean, the question is of course how good is 1.6. What is Roma's Sigma? I'm not sure. Still though, sap and smoke on a Roma hull sounds. The Roma is 1.8. Okay, so it's gonna suffer some from in terms of dispersion, but sap and smoke on a Roma hull that is already stupidly tanky and well concealed seems like a pretty strong combination. It seems like a strong combination. They don't have a model of the tier 9, so sadly we can't find out. As far as I understood, the tier 9 was supposed to have 12 guns. It was supposed to be 4x3, 381, so 12 guns with 1.5 Sigma. But they don't have a model out for that one yet, no pictures. So we jump straight to the Cristoforo Colombo. I probably butchered the pronunciation there as well. Cristoforo Colombo. 16 guns, 4x4, 381s. Well, we can get into the features regarding the guns later, but what they said on the devlog was it has a 55mm deck armor, so it's going to be very, very damage resilient, very HE, and more importantly, it's going to be exactly SAP resilient. Cruiser SAP, Venezia SAP has a pen of 54. So having 55mm is just enough to make you immune against Italian cruisers. Well, not immune, but highly damage resistant. The other features this thing had was they said it had an underwater citadel that was covered by a slight turtleback. So in terms of getting citadels on this thing, it's going to be nigh impossible. But the other downsides are of course going to be reload and health that we will get into now. Of course, this is one of the most important things. 89.9k hit points. That is brutally low. Because there's no super heal, there's no super damage con. So the hit points are going to be an issue. Plating 32, but this is only bow and stern. The deck is 55 as they mentioned. Main battery 4x4. Firing range, this is another weakness. 18.9 is terrible range at tier 10. This is like Grosso Corforce with legendary brawling mod. Terrible. AP shell damage 12k, same sap shell damage with the same shell velocity. So potentially quite effective. However, reload time is 38 seconds. And Sigma is 1.6 with a 255 meter max dispersion. This means you are an inaccurate shotgun that reloads slowly. So you do have access to spotter plane, so you will be able to extend it, but you're going to struggle to hit anything, I think, with this kind of lineup. We'll see. There is, oh yeah, Luigi Sansonetti's range talent. That might actually be interesting. What did you need to proc it though? Was it hits? Or was it a kill? I think it was a kill that procced Luigi's range talent, so it's not necessarily that easy to get, but that would probably help this ship a fair bit. Secondary armament, 12x2, 95k range, and these are supposed to have improved dispersion compared to standard secondaries, but 5k range is questionable, to say the least. Unlikely to get much value out of that. AA defense values are actually really good mid-range damage. Once again, the damage values are quite impressive, but the issue is of course the range. 4.6 is so brutal. By the time you're, especially if they're adding the whole ramping up mechanic, where it takes, what was it, 7 seconds for DPS to ramp up. By the time you've ramped up the DPS in a Colombo, you're already being dropped. So we'll see how that works out. Seems quite questionable. 8 flak, 1.4k alpha. Once again, range questionable. 4.6 at tier 10 is just so too rough to deal with. Like, I don't see this AA ever having much value. Oh, that was only if you turned it off, right? Oh, it was only if you turned it off. I still don't see this doing much. The planes enter your AA, your AA does that little reload thing they do. Planes are within 4 kilometers when you actually start dealing damage, and then they're already doing their attack animation. Questionable. Maximum speed 29.6. That's pretty good. Faster than the Yamatos and such. Turning circle 960. It doesn't handle well. Rough rudder shift. That's actually one of the worst rudder shifts, I think. I think Ohio has 18.6, and then there's Montana with 22.2, but overall this is pretty terrible. 16.4 detectability is good though. What does that leave us at? Let's see, 16.4 leaves us as... Oh, let's see. It leaves us 12.9. 12.9, that's actually pretty good concealment. 12.9 is not that bad. It beats most the other tier 10s, in fact. I think only what Thunder and what's Borgonia. But that's really good for tier 10. 12.9 km concealment is actually really good. Detectability after firing main guns and smoke 15.1. So smoke firing is going to be of limited value. Probably going to be used more for repositioning, ambushing, and potentially brawling. Damage control duration 10 seconds, reload 80. it's not that different from the standard repair party, 45-second exhaust, and spotter.
You're not known to be a humble man.
Obviously, Masturbator, thank you for the 10. Obviously, this ship has potential as some sort of brawling ship because incredible.
Happy 10 months of animal research.
Thank you, my dude. Very fast turret reverse. Italian guns, SAP AP. Like, Italian guns have a lot of pen and great shell velocity, but really poor dispersion generally. 10-second is the shortest duration on non-Russian DC. Okay, so it's potentially vulnerable to being burned down or relit on fire. Basically, that's really it. But I mean, potential as a form of brawler with the underwater citadel with the turtleback protecting it. So if this ship manages with the concealment as well, 12.9 concealment, you push in behind an island, you pop smoke, you charge in. And by the time the enemy realizes what the hell is going on, a Colombo pops up in the middle of their fleet and starts brawling. We don't see the torpedo belt though, and 90k health isn't that much.
Obviously, the environment down here is all
the
salt.
armor and lack
the
of
ceiling's
citadel
salt, the
means,
floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt.
Potentially rough.
Brawling pizza.
Yeah, potentially a pretty rough ship. We'll see how it plays. The 38-second reload does worry me, and it also, I mean, honestly, these ships can kind of swing either way. Smoke plus battleship SAP has potential to be horrendously broken, or the lack of dispersion, the long reload and the lack of dispersion might mean that they are just very weak. Honestly, it remains to be seen. It depends on what they tune it, and it depends on what kind of SAP angles they give it. Are they gonna nerf the SAP angles the same way they did for the Venezia and the Italian cruisers, where the angle was nerfed a lot? Or which way will they turn? Potentially though, could be interesting. Could be interesting. If anything, these battleships are gonna make Sansonetti even more valuable, because all his perks, increased duration on heal, smoke, damage con, and increased range, especially because there is a range limited. All those things are gonna be quite useful. Interesting lineup though. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, Lepanto we never got to see, and these guys we didn't get to see, so they didn't have pictures for us for them yet. I mean, Colombo does seem a lot more interesting than the Vermont. There is that at least, because Colombo has both speed and concealment, something that the Vermont does not have, and Vermont has a 40-second reload, which just means it's kind of this slow bus that everyone wants to farm to death. This one, on the other hand, has tools to disengage, concealment and smoke, and tools to close the distance and brawl. So we'll see. Cautious interest. Pretty cool. The bar is at the ocean floor, not falls. Alright, boys. That is all the devlogs covered, and I've been live for almost 9 hours. What the hell? Why am I still live? I'm actually retarded. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching as always. I'll post highlights and stuff on Twitter and Discord as always, or well, on YouTube, but I'll link them there. Jeez, I can't believe there's actually 5,000. Look at this member count, chat. Okay, I actually just want to show this. Look at this. Look at this, chat. That's pretty nuts. That is actually pretty nuts. Why are there so many people online on the Discord? God damn. Highly recommend. Oh, and there's been updates in the band's channel. That's always interesting for us admins to read. Right. Anyway, thank you as always for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys had a good time. I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and don't do anything as stupid as the stuff I do. Good night, my dudes.